Hey guys, this is Callum from EnglishShooting, and apologies for the messy backdrop. I'm actually in the office. I didn't want to go over to the studio. I thought I'd just do this sat at my desk, as I don't really want to spend any more time on this than I have to. So this is a continuation off of the interview that I did with Sean O'Neill, the chief reporter of The Times, and also the articles that he's continuing to write. So I was very hopeful, maybe a little too optimistic, that after having a chat with him and sort of going over some of the mistakes and misunderstandings and factual inaccuracies in his previous articles, that any future articles would maybe be a little bit more balanced and a little bit more truthful. Unfortunately, when I did ultimately confront him on these inaccuracies, he still said that he stood by them. Here now I've pointed out inaccuracies in an article that I feel is massively misleading and not true, and you're saying you still stand by that, so you stand by inaccuracies.
You have your view on it, I have my view.
It's not about views, this is about the law. There are factually incorrect statements in the article, and yet you're happy to stand by them.
I don't think they're factually inaccurate.
So I challenged him on the fact that we cannot buy guns online within the UK, and when challenged on that, he said, well, I still stand by it. So he obviously still stands by his inaccuracies, which was very disappointing. And despite the education that we gave him during the interview, he's still massively misunderstanding firearms in general. So this latest article that has been released this evening, he goes on to say things, in the article it says the Times raised concerns about the availability of legal weapons which have the appearance of assault rifles such as the AK-47. I explained to him at length that the look of something does not dictate the functionality, and we did this using a 1522 and a 1022, put both out in front of him, and he instantly said about the 1522 being a sinister-looking gun. So you wouldn't refer to that as a sinister-looking gun? That's a target gallery rifle, but you refer to that as a sinister-looking gun.
Yeah.
How they look doesn't affect the functionality, and just because this one, as you say, looks sinister, I don't think it looks sinister. I think it looks very fit for purpose for the sport that it's intended. This is just pure sensationalism. This is pure scaremongering by somebody that should now know what's what. And the fact that he's continuing to use wording like this just shows just a blind agenda here. He doesn't care about the truth. Words like sales of powerful guns. Well, sorry, please define to me what a powerful gun is. In terms of a shotgun, when you have two 12-gauge shotguns side by side, one isn't more powerful than the other in terms of its look, appearance and capacity. Section 1, high capacity, again, please define to me what high capacity is. But a pump-action Section 1 shotgun with a 10-round tube on it is no more powerful than an over and under, is no more powerful than a single-shot hammer gun, it's no more powerful than a side-by-side. What defines the power of the gun is the ammunition you put into it. And I think this is a really interesting fact, and something that obviously Sean unfortunately doesn't understand. Either of these cartridges can be put into an over and under, a side-by-side, or a box-fed semi-automatic Section 1 shotgun. Interestingly, this load at Game Bore Clear Pigeon, I've used it for practical for many, many years, and I would say is a typical practical load. It's a 30-gram 6, and it's actually one of the least powerful loads that you can buy. Here we have the Fiocchi Magnum, a wildfowling load, which is a 52-gram load, so a lot more powerful. And you won't see this on a practical stage. You won't see this at a practical competition. But in terms of a practical gun, they're not using powerful ammunition. They're not a powerful shotgun. It's a shotgun. And again, wording and terminology like this is very disappointing to see. Interestingly, though, that the whole article, which is titled "Police Warned Javid About Gun Loopholes," the main premise of the article is actually about miniature rifle exemptions. And why he's still going on about
Section 1 shotguns in this when it's about mini rifle? I don't know. I think it just plays to the agenda that's at hand. But he talks about the loopholes in law that allows people to go and buy mini rifles. And I can't actually say I disagree with him on this. He's missed the mark massively, and I'll get onto that in a second. But what he's basically saying is that the miniature rifle exemption allows people to go and buy guns not exceeding a .23 caliber without a license, to hold them without a license, and to use them without a license. And I'm sorry, I might get a bit of flack for this, but I don't disagree with that. Like, there shouldn't be an avenue for people to be able to buy firearms in this country without going through the background checks, without obtaining a license, without jumping through all of the other hoops and going through all the checks and balances that a typical firearms owner or FAC holder would do. But I fully support it. That's why we don't have spades of murders with firearms in the UK. That's why on average every single year there's only around 35 gun deaths, mainly by illegal firearms within the UK. Personally, I feel within the UK there needs to be checks and balances to make sure somebody is suitable to own a firearm, and he's pointed out that there is an exemption in law where somebody can go and purchase a firearm without any of those checks. So yeah, I can't say I disagree with him on that, but the way he's missed the mark, and again sort of shows his lack of research and understanding about our firearm system and current sort of firearms legislation, is that this loophole is actually being removed. Within the Offensive Weapons Bill, they are closing this down so that you will now require a licence. So it's a non-issue. There was the full metal jacket range, and I'm sure loads of you have seen that around on Facebook. We actually reported that to the police. They were using the miniature rifle exemption to be able to purchase firearms and run this range, which looked like someone's back garden. It was scary to watch. It was crazy. As upstanding shooters within the UK, we don't want to see things like that. We don't want to see people obtaining guns that shouldn't be allowed to obtain guns. You know, we're very self-regulating. We're very aware of the image that we put out. We do our absolute utmost to create a positive image of this sport, especially in practical shooting. The amount of safety, the fact that within a UK PSA match, you cannot wear camo. We try to keep this, you know, as professional as possible, and someone like this that just doesn't understand, that wants just wants to sell papers, and it's nothing more than that, really. So there we go, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to follow up on updates. I will be releasing the interview at some point. We're just going through it. It's obviously very important that it's put out in the right way, so we're just going through that at the moment, but yeah, should be out soon. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, I hope to see you soon.